from America or anything like that, so it's are they like fruity? It kind of depends. Like, I wouldn't say mine tastes very fruity at all. I would say mine tastes like well, it's hard to describe, but like, do you know the, like, for example, I have the blue raspberry flavor, so that's the one I can definitely talk the most about. And my blue raspberry flavor one, you know, like blue slushies. You guys know, like, slush drinks, like ice drinks. I don't know if it's called the same around the world, but like blue slush drinks. The blue raspberry one, obviously, you know, those are made of blue raspberry. It kind of tastes like that, only it's not icy and slushy, you know. So yeah, it's hard to describe the taste, but it's definitely not the generic energy drink taste. It's also not fizzy because you just mix it with water. It's definitely a very different sort of energy drink experience. I would say that at the very least. So, anyways, guys, let's kick this off. If you do have any other questions, please do feel free to ask, but between the games, because right now we've got a cast, as we do have to the top left-hand side. It is our red Protoss player from Cascade. This is DnS. And he's up against, in this PvP, the blue Protoss player to the bottom right-hand side. It is Creator. But yeah, I guess to very quickly wrap it up, I really do enjoy the blue raspberry one myself. I drink it most days, even when I'm not streaming and when I'm not kind of required to kind of drink it. I do generally drink this. I haven't bought another energy drink in the time I've had my sneak, so I've genuinely changed from the other energy drinks I used to drink, which was Monster and Relentless a lot. There's some Red Bull now and then, and I drank way too much energy drinks as well. I'm a bad person. But I have fully switched to Sneak, like 100%, so it's pretty sick. I really do enjoy it. Anyways, I said we're going to talk about this game. Let's talk about this game. 2 gates on the way on each side of the map, and it's 2 Stalkers versus 2 Adepts here early on. 2 Stalkers from DnS as he throws down the pylon. Creator will just run on by. I'm just going to be seeing the probe actually though just turn around and kind of get the pylon block here. I mean, well, I think DnS just lost a probe. Yeah, he lost his scouting probe to the 2 Adepts, so lost his scouting probe, a little bit of a shame, as we are going to be seeing this probe of Creator getting ready to throw down a Nexus perhaps in the next few moments. It's very fast Twilight Council here from DnS. Now, with this many Stalkers, you can obviously look at this and kind of assume Blink, but there's always got to be that little bit of a question on your mind of, is it Dark Templar? Is he going to try and sneak a couple of cheeky DTs in here? Because it is quite a fast Twilight Council. Let's see, it looks like it will be a Dark Shrine as a probe clicks behind the mineral line. So Dark Shrine to start us off here this time around. Now the Adepts coming through will see the lack of a Nexus until a little bit later. There's a pylon here to block them from going up the ramp, which means they can't get any probe kills and they can't scout the Dark Shrine 100%. All you can do is say, well, why is your Nexus later than mine? What have you built that causes you to expand more slowly? Obviously, you can see here that Creator's only just now throwing down his own Twilight Council, much more standard timing to go in towards a Blink opener. Let's hope he gets a Robo as well, otherwise he could be suffering a pretty quick loss here if he's going to be without some sort of detection to deal with these incoming DTs in the near future. So Nexus on this natural expansion over here from DnS is on its way, but it's this pylon that's going to be the most important structure in the next few moments, because he's going to get the gateway with this, so I guess he doesn't need the gateway with this, but he's going to be warping in the DTs from here. If you actually see the sentry being targeted down, it's kind of tough to read this as Creator, because I can almost sort of see a world in which you look at this and you're like, well, you know, he targeted my sentry, maybe he wants to stop me from force field, and why would he want to do that? And, you know, you could look at this and maybe be like, okay, well, you know, maybe he wants to kind of run DCs in my base, and then, you know, if he tries to force field me out, that can be kind of a little bit weird, but, you know, then I can force them out. But I think in general, the sentry is just a good target, right? So it's not a bad target to just take down in most scenarios. Full wall off here from Creator, though, as this is going to be not the damage which DnS wants. This Robo facility is on its way up, and DnS saw that. As he comes up the ramp with the DTs, he really just isn't going to be able to access this in time, but he will still get some damage done. He actually has a position here he can still even hit this pylon, so pylon will go down, and he gets access towards this gateway again. It's a long time until the Robo is actually able to finish the Observer, but it's a long time to break through over here. Meanwhile, 2 Stalkers across the map, Creator applying a little bit more pressure. And the CTs are going to be able to sneak on through, but I'm a little bit worried as to what they might actually be able to get done before the Observer comes out. He's actually going to clean up some of the Stalkers. Oh, the sentry actually gets trapped by a warping in Stalker. That's kind of interesting. Obviously now the Observer does come out, so these DTs are kind of just a little bit trapped here, but he's gotten himself 4 worker kills. He got himself 2 sentries. Definitely wasn't a bad setup. He also forced a lot of lost minerals over here as well, with all of these buildings that got built up to all the DTs out. So actually, this was fairly successful from DnS. Maybe not in the most kind of typical sort of way, which is like, he killed all your probes, but he did force a lot of resources lost, and you know, coming out a couple of workers ahead, resources losses on his side. He's got the DT Shrine to warp in Archons potentially. We actually haven't seen any usage of the Twilight Council from Creator just yet. No upgrade for now, so we'll see how that goes. We actually do see the DTs will continue to be used in a Warp Prism to come in here and to get damage done once again. Well, Prism going to try and come in, but already Stalker's in position. It can drop the DT down, though. Just going to go straight towards the mineral line, where he will take a couple of swipes, in fairness. The Observer apparently out of position at the moment, so again, a couple of workers killed. He comes back in with the Prism to lift up that DT. Should be able to get it here. That long pickup range. Oh, that's a little bit of miss micro. Now he's a bit distracted by the Adepts in the mineral line. Unfortunately, DnS does lose the DT. Nice attempt, though. A nice distraction timing from Creator, because if it wasn't right now, that would have been a little bit intriguing, as we are going to be seeing the couple of extra sentries on the way out. An Immortal being produced from this robo facility as well. So Immortal coming through, another couple of Adepts are being built. Plus one attack upgrade coming in on this forge as well. As we set ourselves up here to have a little bit of a look to see what's going to be happening. Resonating Glaives coming up right now from Creator. And again, that Glaives puts you in that little bit of an interesting sort of setup where you're definitely looking to do something a little bit different than the charge upgrade here from DnS. A lot of Adepts are going to be pretty good against charge lots, but I really feel that they will lose a lot of value over time, because Adepts are going to go down so quickly when it comes to, you know, Archons massing up and starting to be in better numbers, for example. So it's kind of an interesting situation to have that kind of Glaives coming up. It definitely means that Creator is going to be the aggressor. He's definitely not going to make, you know, Resonating Glaives and Adepts and just sit back and be like, okay, cool, let's just defend my 3 bases and see what we can get done from here. That's not how this is going to be working at all. 5 extra gates is obviously a big indicator of that. While DnS does go up to 3rd base, it is in the back. So with this 3rd base in the back, he is going to be able to defend just on the natural, which is harder to attack into. Choke point here, choke point there. So you can definitely kind of use that to his advantage, although obviously Resonating Glaives and Adepts, they can kind of just shade beyond your choke point sometimes and kind of minimize the effects of that defensive setup. As the first extra gateways from DnS, he's going to be so far behind on gateway production, and that's the really scary thing here, that the Adept numbers are really going to swell up so quickly. He comes in now to try and get a couple of kills. Just to see, you know, a few bits and pieces. If he sees one of the Adepts attack and realizes it's Resonating Glaives, that would be actually amazing. One Adept will go down, another Adept, I'm not even sure where he shaded to. He actually cancels the shade and keeps it in the corner. I guess if he gets left alive, but it's still coming after it. Yeah, there's the opportunity there to maybe get something done. Meanwhile, the Observers keep an eye on the Warp Prism, just making sure that it's not going to move into a different location and start warping in the next few moments while he's not paying attention. Just wants to make sure he knows exactly when that might happen. Proxied Pylon, those are going to be some Adept warp-ins, but obviously very slow Adept warp-ins. Be nice. Does Creator have a Prism of his own? He does. It is actually already over to the left-hand side, so he is able to warp in Adepts over here instead. When Adept moves forwards, doesn't see this base, so knows now he probably wants to attack up this ramp because it's a bit more open than this position here, unless he takes down the rocks, which takes a little while. Instead, Phoenix goes down very quickly. More Zealots warping in. The extra gateways are almost ready. DnS is +2 halfway done, so if he survives, he definitely has advantages to work with. But surviving is obviously not necessarily going to be, you know, easily done. Because I'm going to be dropping in towards the main, and you see 4 of these Adepts are going to be starting to get some damage done. Shield battery though, so you will actually have to target fire, otherwise the shield battery will just keep on healing up. The Stalker's going to respond, the Warp Prism in the back, so Adepts all over the place, and now the push up in towards this natural expansion. Now pushing forward, we are going to be seeing these first forces are very good. DnS loses himself 1 Immortal, now 2 in a moment. Creator just all over the place with the setup here, but DnS is starting to clean it up, honestly. He cleans up over here, loses 9 workers, yes, but his 3rd base is still up and running. And Creator's is not, so DnS has actually dealt with this. Prism comes in to try and warp in once again, but now I think, straight up, the Warp Prism is just going to die because he targets it with Stalkers. So these Adepts are stuck here. Never attempt to push up into towards the natural, but I mean, Archons and Immortal, looks as though there's enough, and great force fields. No Archons on the side of Creator, which means he can't just bust down force fields with anything. And this is DnS with a fantastic hold. This really looked terrifying when Adepts dropped in the main, the warping in the back base, and then the push up into the natural, but the splitting was perfect, the control was good, and yes, DnS lost some workers. His third base was a little bit faster to make up for that. That said, he lost a few more probes now. And the third base that Creator took here is the fact it's on the kind of better base to have a third on. So by putting that out there, we are going to be seeing Creator in that little bit of a position now where he's going to be kind of happy actually. His economy is going to be that little bit better. And DnS, you know, his +2 attack finished, but he never really made use of it, apart from defending. So now he's going to be actually even on upgrades, and he hasn't started his next attack upgrade either. So that kind of sucks just a little bit. A couple of assimilators coming down the top left corner. Hallucinate Phoenix will fly on towards the right hand side. Hallucination moving all the way down the right hand side, as we do see pylon just next to this gold base, and again these extra gates just setting themselves up to see what might be next. So we are going to be seeing this Hallucinated Phoenix going to get taken down again. So once more the Phoenix falls, and still just this group of units from DnS going to be looking pretty powerful, I have to say. You know, if we look at the army compositions, I guess he's kind of down on Immortals. That's something he did lose out on in that previous fight. We saw them being sniped down, but he has double the Archon count, 6 against the 3. So really moving forwards here, a big potential with the Archons maybe. Let's see what he can do. He's definitely looking to be aggressive. He hasn't really made workers for a while. He definitely hasn't looked to kind of set himself up into another upgrade or anything. So let's see how this goes. Pushing forwards. We're not going to see these Zealots starting to charge on in. Archons and Stalkers getting ready to go, and we are going to be seeing those couple of Archons and Immortals so far from Creator defending pretty well. Creator gets his own warping going here. DnS definitely needs a warping of his own. He gets a few High Templar. Seems as though that's all he can get for the moment. He's actually just walked in some Stalkers as well to deal with the 2 Adepts that are running by. So that's annoying. It forces defensive warpings for just 2 Adepts. It's absolutely insane as we're going to be seeing these Archons continue to push at the front. I feel like DnS isn't making enough progress though, and right now it feels like Creator is getting the upper hand in this, although his Archon's stuck in the back. That's a lot of damage output he's missing out on. DnS now tries to start pulling away, and he's going to be chased here as these Archons continue to get their shots off, and we are going to be seeing DnS pulling all the way out towards the center. So the Archons dropping down here will be able to chase some probes down. Some probes being chased, some damage being taken. Archons picking up an Adept here, and we are going to be seeing DnS just try and do something more with this Prism and the Archons, and he's getting quite a bit done. In fairness, these 2 Archons have found a major amount of damage. The Prism is going to fall though, so these Archons are fully stranded now. Creator's across the map, ready to attack on in, ready to make something happen himself. There's actually still a few DTs actually coming in. We haven't seen those for a while in this game. That's how this game started out with the DTs, remember? So they start running in, and they will start getting some damage done. No Observer in this army either, so the DTs are actually going to hold on for DnS. Wow, Creator in a lead, but unable to capitalize because he lacks the detection required. And suddenly, quite a bit of damage done because of the lack of an Observer both on this side of the map and the other. So DT's saving DnS for just a little while, but he's still down on supply. Maybe if we can catch some of these units, that would be amazing. Like if he gets a couple of mortal kills, that would go a long, long way. As pushing forwards, we are going to be seeing a single immortal already going down. 2 DTs continuing to chase. This pylon up here is what caused this issue from DnS in the first place, with 2 Adepts coming in and just kind of creating trouble. Now the DTs are seen because there's an Observer here, so he morphs in the Archon instead, but is that even going to be enough? The Stalkers in the back don't even have Blink. They're kind of like dead weight at this stage of the game. Prism, which is nice, but again, do they then do enough beyond that to kind of still deal with this? The War Prism is nice because it's a micro kind of addition for the Protoss army of Creator, but it's not like he can't warp in without the War Prism because he's on his own side of the map, so DnS ends up backing away. Creator will not chase without a Prism of his own. He does have charge now on the way up. He has his final upgrade of attack coming through as well, just as DnS started his just moments ago. So Creator is ahead on the upgrades now. It's something that will definitely help him out, as we are going to be seeing These units from DnS just gathering all the way back up to the natural, so turns into quite a close game yet again. Creator, though, already has a fourth base. He has this back base and has had for a while. And it's like little things like that have just led Creator into, in general, having an advantage. I mean, look at that. The army, or the income, sorry, has actually been pretty DnS favored, especially the last couple of minutes when he's been forcing units around. It'd be interesting to see where that evens out. You can see the army supplies. Creator had a massive advantage over here, but that's definitely dipped down a little bit. DnS has definitely fought back in that regard. Very impressively as well, I have to say. Well, Creator has the upgraded advantage now as he begins to move out onto the map. He decides to pull back. Just doesn't commit in just yet. We do see a few probes just long distancing from the natural to this fourth base, waiting for it to become available. I mean, main base mined out, natural not far behind. Third, already only had 8 patches, now down to 6. It's already that sort of scenario where it's like, okay, well, we kind of need to get some money somewhere. You know, these probes need to do something. You can see that is Creator getting into a bit of an eco advantage, although I imagine once those probes start mining properly, the income might even out a little bit, but Creator will then take another little lead because he starts to expand towards a gold base here. If that's not punished, that definitely will just be, again, another small advantage. As Creator pushes further out onto the map, it definitely should be punishable. Right, Templar coming on in, and we are going to be seeing just more and more Archons being brought into play here. The immortal count relatively low from both, 2 apiece. Haven't really been focusing too much on immortal production. Another immortal just popped out actually from Creator in the last few moments. It's pushing forwards. There's going to be DnS. Going to be charging in actually, and already going to be doing a little bit of damage. Shield battery gets taken down. A cannon doesn't quite fall, but he gets the pylon deactivated. Pulling up the ramp is DnS, who has himself this kind of initial concave. The Zealots are a little bit trapped behind, though. The Archons going up against each other. It's kind of hard to say what's going to happen here. The Prism from Creator is going to go down, so reinforcements cannot really come in because there's no pylon here either. So despite this being on Creator's side of the map, it doesn't really matter too much in that regard. But Creator is starting to push on through. The Immortals apparently just keep on chunking. Warping in the main base, though, and the Nexus goes down. So the Nexus falls. He empowers the robot, but there's already an Observer here. He'll drop down to the low ground now instead, where he'll be able to do just that little bit extra. So an Immortal drops, sorry, DT drops down and has to fight the probe there initially. Cannon will fall and, well, just lifts up again, trying to keep avoiding that Observer. The +1 armor was so close to finishing, but didn't quite make it. Meanwhile, Creator cannot actually push in towards this other base. Now he move commands into this army, so he's actually going to lose a few units. Nice pick off by DnS, who does grab quite a bit there. A few High Templar continue to come out, and we are going to be seeing DnS is still really fighting for this one. He's been trailing, I would say, for a lot of this game, and I feel as though even when things start to look up for him, they're not really trying to take him into a lead, they're also just keeping him alive. Prism comes back over to the left side, and we are going to be seeing again more Zard, Stalkers, and Archons coming down the left and having a little bit of a think as to what they might want to try and do here. Two more Archons of DnS just morphing in below this War Prism, so continue to morph in right now as we do see the Stargate from Creator dropping down in the natural expansion. And well, still pushing in. We're going to see a couple of shield batteries in some trouble. Some more Zealots warping in as well. Continue to push on forward. These Zealots continue to just keep on charging, and we are going to be seeing DnS trying to break Creator, but I think Creator might have just that little bit too much. His Archons and Immortals are just slightly better numbers for himself. The warping comes in from DnS, a few extra Zealots join the field. Creator powers up his War Prism to do the same. Suddenly DnS is starting to make a bit of better progress here. He's suddenly taking down the Prism. The extra few Zealots coming from the right hand side, and that could be another turning point. DnS still with the War Prism to add some micro into this. The Immortal gets saved as well, brought behind the new wave of Zealots that actually will get so much more done as DnS still fights this. Probes are going down as they get pulled into the battle as well. Both Archons of DnS now dead as Creator has to pull on backwards. It will be seeing him losing this Immortal, sorry. And the armies are looking so similar right now. A couple of Stalkers, a group of Zealots, and an Immortal apiece. But that's a Phoenix, for whatever reason, from Creator coming through, lifts the Immortal, and wow, it's actually a game changer because it gets rid of the Immortal, where otherwise maybe we would have gotten away without losing much. Creator drops down below in workers, 46 to the 50. That said, does that matter if a lot of these workers must be oversaturated somewhere? Wow, he isn't. That's impressive. But then as soon as the next couple of mineral patches disappear, he will be, and that's why he is now getting ready to start up another Nexus on the low ground. 21 minutes into this PvP, and neither of these players are really showing a sign of weakness. This has been relentless play from both of them over the last few minutes, and I feel as though we're just going to continue to see, well, a little bit more of it for the near future, because this game is still pretty close. As we are going to be seeing more units continuing down the left-hand side of the map from DnS. Continue to see just what else they can do as an Archon being added in from Creator. The same will happen from DnS. If we look at the unit supply right now, it's 5 Archons to the 4, a couple of Stalkers apiece, 14 to 12 Zealots. It's the Immortals that are here from Creator, and DnS has no Immortals at all, and I'm not sure what to really make of that. I think the Immortals are so important because, I mean, they really do just chunk through units, and they just stay alive for so long. They absorb a lot of damage in the army as well. The Zealot fight gets a little bit messy to start things off here, but I think you can already see that Creator is the one that's moving forward with Archons and Immortals left over against just the Archons. And it is just going to be the case where Creator just had that little bit more yet again. Feels as though it's just been an endless tale of this game. Creator just has a little bit more, and that keeps on winning him these fights just slightly. And now DnS, this time he's pushed back with a 20 army supply disadvantage, and Creator continue to build on that. He's had this gold base too, remember, so that is also an advantage in terms of the income. You can see the difference now in that income graph compared to when we checked it before. It really has been an income dominated by Creator over the last few minutes, as we are going to be seeing him, DnS at least, still trying to just do more damage with these Archon drops, seeing what else can be done here, but not quite able to do too much. Two more High Templar warping in on the gold base, and we are going to see this War Prism chase in the main. Couple Archons drop down, one Archon drops from Creator. There's a Zealot as well to join in. War Prism being targeted. Now the War Prism is going to get taken down by a Phoenix. Will he get the Archon out of there? He will, so that's something at least. It's just something, an extra loss for DnS, a loss which, no matter what, he isn't really able to take, but at the same time he had to take some sort of risk here, because if he didn't take a risk and try and do some more damage, he just wasn't going to be able to deal with this next little stage of this. We do see Archons and Mortals gathering themselves on the left-hand side. A few Zealots just warping in. We are just going to be seeing DnS set up in a concave, getting ready to fight against this 24-minute PvP to kick off game 1 of this second series of the day. As we are going to be seeing those Archons continuing to push on through, and this is going to be more of these Archons of DnS will continue to be picked away at, so they are going to continue dropping. That's GG, and Creator will take game number 1 of this best of 3 series. Going to game number 2 of this best of 3. As we do have to the other left-hand side, the red Protoss player. Engineer, Green Wings, this is Creator. Going up against the blue Protoss, the bottom right-hand side of the map from Cascade, it's DnS. What a great game number 1, back and forth, Protoss versus Protoss action. Non-stop, and really until the end, a little bit difficult to really judge who was going to be taking that one down. Creator, I think, really had the edge for a lot of the game, yes, but DnS was making a lot of cool moves to get back into it. So, see what happens now going into game number 2 as we get this set up and ready to go. What's up, everyone in the chat? How are we feeling today? I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about in chat. It's, Shiver in the chat just said, I can imagine Wardy checking chow during the break and just noping the fuck out. That's pretty much what just happened, because it looks like a bit of a mess, but hopefully you guys are having a good time. Hopefully chat isn't too bad. I mean, we've got a mod here, it can't be that bad, right? But, yeah, I hope you guys are doing good, and I hope you guys are ready for some more StarCraft, as we have 4 more best of 3s after this one. And our first group stage games of the WardiTV Weekly Season 4 Finals. So getting set up, and looking to see just what's going to be going on here over the next few minutes as we do get ourselves set up in towards the early stages here. Creator maybe in some trouble though. It looks as though DnS is going to apply quite a bit of pressure. He's already thrown down an extra gateway. And obviously generally just suggests a lot of pressure in the next few moments. I wonder if we see a fourth gate even. There's Creator's probe up here, and DnS's probe is going to run by Creator's probe, so he's not going to kind of come over here unseen. So both these players, the probe on the map, the Adept actually gets a couple of kills, and that's not pretty either because Creator gets the scout on what that building is, so he knows it's a third gateway. And DnS is just like, okay, well, straight up, I'm just going to cancel it. This probe pulls back home as well. Cancel it, gets ready to throw down a Nexus, but he's just going to throw down a Nexus into a disadvantage because Creator back at home already has an expansion. He's thrown down his extra gateway now. Arguably, the shield batteries, for example, from Creator may kind of slow him down a little bit. It may stop him just slightly from being able, you know, from kind of having as much of a lead because he's committed to a defense that he didn't actually need, but I think in general it's still enough for Creator to come out of this in a lead at the moment. Well, we'll see these Stalkers just going to come through and picking off a couple of Adepts here, so a couple of Adepts going down. Shield battery finishes up, and actually I don't think that shield battery is meant to finish up here for DnS. He will get ready to work his way through. This was just meant to block the Adepts, so that finish was a little bit of a mistake. Still good from DnS, but he goes into a robo facility to begin things off in terms of his further tech in this game. Goes straight in towards something along the lines of an Immortal or so. As these Stalkers coming out, and they're going to be moving their way across towards the upper left-hand side here. So, moving in towards the upper left to try and get some damage dealt. We do have the Forge and the Robo Facility from DnS on the way down as well. So, continuing to set up into this as we do have these Stalkers going forwards, and we are just going to be seeing a little shield battery already healing up a Stalker or two. A little bit of progression made here from DnS. He actually forces a couple of force fields which completely missed. So, Creator unable to hit with these force fields and DnS backing away. And both of them just kind of very much so mirrored each other, at least in terms of structures built at the moment. We see a Forge on the way from both, and they both built that Robo initially. Obviously there's an extra gateway from Creator, which he hasn't really had to use, because obviously DnS never applied the pressure which he thought was coming. So we're all going to be seeing the units just gathering back up from DnS, and I wonder what his plan is. I mean, he gets the Prism, right? So he's definitely looking for some damage. He has been behind on workers because he was behind on the Nexus, and he didn't do anything to make up for that because his plan was figured out. It was scouted, and everything was kind of really realized here. As we are going to see this Prism coming over to the left-hand side for the moment. Twilight Cancel is about halfway done. And we're just going to be seeing the gateway starting to come down. So it's going to be Creator to make the first choice as to what he wants to do with the Twilight. It's a pretty late Twilight after Robo and Forge, so usually this would just be a charge upgrade. No real reason to go into Blink at this sort of stage. It doesn't give you that much value. Resonating Glaives, you kind of want to be able to kind of harass with that earlier, or already have a follow-up and kind of or be aiming towards a a big kind of timing attack that this Twilight just doesn't really work for. So it is just charge as we expect it to be, and there's DnS with his own Twilight. So again, similar ideas from the players, but you're just starting to see that kind of advantage of Creator seeping through the few little bits and pieces of, okay, well, I'm slowly but surely starting to get to this point of I had my gateways earlier, I have this earlier, that earlier, and maybe that just leads to Creator taking a fight where he's just going to be in one heck of an advantage. For example, again, his Nexus is earlier as well here, down on this third base, so going to be seeing the probes continue to be chrono boosted, and we are going to be seeing another couple of gateways added on as well. Plus 2 attack upgrades also just being chrono boosted here on the Forge, so continue chrono boost there. War Prism pops out of that Robo facility, and we are going to be seeing this War Prism with a couple of Immortals inside going to be coming in towards the third base in the next few moments. So getting ready to drop down and do a little bit more as we do have 2 Adepts of DnS going to start shading forwards. Shows up and will start to pick its way through a few of these probes. So I mean, is DnS to start getting some damage done? At least he's going to go after Pylon as well. One more probe comes into play. Again, these Immortal drops are very powerful. They can get a lot done, and he's going to get himself another couple of probes before he lifts up and gets out of there. Again, nice from DnS. It's little things that will just bring in, close the gap in terms of what the advantages these players have had. It's not been a massive lead that Korea's had throughout this game, but it has definitely been a lead. So anything DnS can do just to slow that down and again just shorten the disparity between them would be absolutely fantastic for them here. And the Immortal drop, for example, is a fun, it's a great example of just that. So far, so good as we do see these couple of Immortals with DnS in the Prism. Some more units from Korea continue to move on out here again, ready to just push out in towards the center. +2 attack on each side is about to finish up, and DnS, well, he did have the later Twilight Council. It hasn't really affected him because he hasn't really taken a fight without charge, so he'll have charge before the fight comes through. He's an Archon down, but that's very easily fixed. You've seen the +3 attack upgrade coming through from Creator, so that is something he's already on the way for. And the Fleet Beacon as well. I mean, I guess we are on backwater, right? So if the Thwart Prism is going to get attacked by a Phoenix, DnS just instantly recalls it. But we do see just the kind of idea of moving at least in towards the mothership. But on backwater, you always have to be open to the idea of that this could be so much more than just a mothership, that this could be carriers, that this could be a real late-game Protoss army coming through in the near future. Hallucinated Phoenix takes a volley as it flies on into the center. More Prism down to the south side, an Immortal and a couple of Zealots just coming through here for the moment. Getting set to see what they can maybe do as he moves in towards the main base. Some extra gateways on the way up on the side of this main, and we are going to be seeing those few extra High Templar also just warping in, becoming Archons now. Getting ready to lift up into that Prism to go from there. There you go. First pylon going to be targeted down. Actually, it powers a lot. Robo, actually just the Robo. I thought this Forge was going to go down too. It will now with the second pylon dropping, so we've dropped so far the Archons. Zone out the Prism, but not for long enough for it to kind of, is able to get back in there and pick up the Immortal at least, which is nice. And the Zealots are going huge, man. 4 works on top of the damage they've done. Eventually cleaned up, but 6 worker kills. And the Zealots have had a pretty good time. Shredder will drop down this Immortal, and we are going to be seeing this pylon taking some damage again. Another ship coming on in, we are going to be seeing the Warp Prism is being pushed around a little bit, and the game's just settling for a moment or two. See you guys discussing the bee incident on stream. Can I just point out that the bee incident was terrifying because it was a massive bumblebee, and I had no idea it was there initially, and it kept flying at my face. You guys are like having a laugh like, oh my god, that's hilarious. It was not hilarious, it was absolutely terrifying. And the pigeon incident, it wasn't even a pigeon, it was a bird. It flew into the studio and it smashed a light. You tell me that isn't cause for concern. God damn it. Bumblebees are harmless? That doesn't make me feel any better about the thing flying at my face. I don't care if it's harmless. If it's flying at my face or I'm trying to cast, I'm not just going to be sitting there and like, oh yeah, this is fine. This is perfectly normal. I'm just going to sit and talk StarCraft while this big bumblebee flies into me repeatedly. No, that's not how that works. Alright, anyways, guys, it is DnS going for the attack here, pushing in. His Zealots are so caught up in the back, but it means they will survive some of the initial Archon shots until the Archon count is a little bit lower. I mean, it's a weird one because arguably the DPS needs to be there in the first place anyways, and they also kind of help his own Archon survive a lot longer. You can see now they're starting to come on through, but it really hasn't worked out. Creator's going to hold on against this so very well. I mean, DnS has been absolutely crushed here. He leaves with, well, really not that much at all, as we are going to be seeing this Warp Prism continue back away with just a couple of mortals inside. That Archon shut down too. What a defense by Creator, who's about to go 2-0 in this series, and that would put him 2-0 in the group with a chance to play against Seoul to finish the group in first place. How crazy would that be? Well, 4 Archons morphing in at the moment, and we are going to be seeing Creator just gathering together in the center. Meanwhile, a couple of Immortals off to the left-hand side here doing some damage. So at least DnS is finding something. I think Creator's just like, okay, you know what, buddy? You do that. I'm going to keep on moving forwards, and I'm going to be well, just going for the fight here. The Wolfism recalls those Immortals. Oh my god, was that 1 HP recall? Oh, did it actually die? No, it's there. It's that one. It got healed by shield battery. 1 HP. The DT next to it as it recalls away at the last second. Well, I mean, again, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be enough from DnS unless he can muster up an absolutely miraculous attack or defense here. I mean, how do you defend against an army like this one when you straight up just have less? I mean, I don't even think it's about positioning here. I don't think that's what won created the last fight. I think it's just the Zealots not being, I guess, arguably Zealots being in front is positioning, but position of the overall army I don't think is the issue. Well, let's see. There's a lot of Zealots here from DnS, but with this many Archons of created, 8 of them at the moment, those Zealots are going to melt, and that is the issue. It's high-tech units versus low-tech units, and there's a reason we don't just see Zealots being, there's a reason Zealots are good, there's a reason they're used, but in this sort of number, I mean, you can already see creators just sort of kiting away, and the Zealots, the splash damage on them is really starting to stack up. The Zealots disappeared, the Archons are still standing pretty darn strong. We have a lot of Immortal support as well to keep on pushing through, and this is going to be, well, really, still just creators' game if it continues like this. Now, they both have money to spend. There's definitely still opportunity for a mistake here. You can see that High Templar is hunting for the feedback on the mothership. A few Zards warping in, another Archon warping in as well. And we are going to be seeing just another couple High Templars and Zards from DnS. He's still just trying to warp in what he can, but you got to remember he's limited to 4 bases while Creator's gone up to a 5th base. He's continuing on with further shield upgrades. Everything from Creator just seems to be getting better. He splits up into a concave before engaging into this here. And a time warp in the back is even going to slow down some of the Zealots and Immortals as they try and cut on through these two. Archons trying to reinforce, get caught up in it as well. And even just mass DT being built. Creator will take game 2 in his 2nd series of the day so far. Has not dropped a match.